Okay, y'all, this has been 2 years in the making, so I'm really super excited for the very first podcast of the Collective's Table, where I'll be sitting down with people from all different walks of life to share their stories that is going to inspire, challenge, or create awareness. And my very first guest is none other than the professional boxer, businessman, and a good friend, Gabriel Rosado.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for saying yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you probably got sick of me because I was like, I've asked him probably like 50 times, and he's like, when are you actually going to do it?
No, I was ready for whenever.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it. So who is Gabriel Rosado?
I'm ambitious, intense, God-fearing, family man. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit of everything, I'm just, and I just love to be, creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, some random questions.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Black or white?
Con leche.
Okay. Evening or morning?
See, sometimes I'm a morning person, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah.
So it just depends, whatever mood I'm in, but I'll probably say morning.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, arroz con gandule, and which is Puerto Rican.
Okay.
That's Puerto Rican food. That's yellow rice with like these little beans, and then I would say pita encebollado. That's like a steak with some onions. Yeah.
Okay, we love steak.
Yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure as far as food that you're not really supposed to eat, but...
Chocolate.
Okay, dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
That's better for you.
Yeah, dark chocolate. I love it. With almonds.
Oh, yeah.
Or walnuts. Y'all go crazy. And cake.
Mm-hmm.
Love cake. Ice cream.
Cake and ice cream. That's classic.
When I'm like right after a fight, I go crazy for like a whole month of just eating sweets like that and pizza. Yeah, it's really bad.
So how strict is your diet when you're training?
Well, it has to be strict because it's like, you got to make a weight. Mm-hmm. So like my weight cuts, it's like 20 pounds. So, the diet is really strict.
What's the biggest amount of weight that you've lost in a short amount of time?
Well, the funny thing is I just had an exhibition in Miami a few weeks ago, and I was about 205 pounds because I retired.
Yeah.
So I was just chilling. And they called me, hey, Gabe, you want to do this exhibition in Miami? I said, yeah, well, wait. And they're like, can you do 160 something? I'm like, hell no. I'm like, man, the lowest I could probably go is 75, 175. And they were like, all right, cool. So I don't know why I agreed to 175. So I literally went from 205 to 175 in 3 weeks.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
What did you eat?
It was just more working out, like, runs, long runs, sauna, all that stuff, sparring. With sparring and running, you lose a lot of weight.
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously, the meals are just cutting the carbs off and things like that. So,
yeah,
more plant-based diet.
So did you always want to be a boxer, or when you were a kid, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be a baseball player.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to be a baseball player. My dad was really good at baseball, so that was like the way me and my dad bond. He'd take me to the park. We played baseball. So my dream was, I legit thought I was going to be a baseball player.
When did that change for you?
When I wasn't doing good in school. So, like baseball is different than boxing because, with baseball, to make it to the majors or anything like that, like, you have to go to college ball, whatever. So, academically you have to do well, I guess. So that wasn't my thing. And but I loved boxing just as much. And I was a fan of boxing too because my dad was a big fan of boxing.
Okay.
So baseball and boxing was kind of like right there.
Yeah.
Right. So I made the switch for boxing, and it was it.
When did you make the switch?
I made the switch when I was like, I always was like thinking about it. And in my room, I would have posters of like Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson and Tito Trinidad, like these dudes I admired. And it was probably like at the age of 18, I was getting caught up with the wrong crowd, and I was like, man, I got to make a change. Like, I got to do something that's gonna like distract me from the streets and getting in trouble. So I kind of dedicated myself to boxing, and it pretty much saved me. It saved me from trouble. It saved me, like, it put discipline in my life.
Yeah.
So once I fell in love with the sport, it was a wrap.
Was that something that you sought out on your own, or did somebody be like, hey, like, I see something in you?
Well, you know what I mean? My mother was always, on top of me, disciplining me but schooling me and, feeding me with the word and things like that. She was always like guiding me and stuff. And when you're young, you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But it eventually clicks at the right time. So for me, like, everything that she always would tell me, it kind of clicked. And I was like, man, if I don't listen, this is going to go wrong. This is going to go bad. Because a lot of my friends that I grew up with, they were going to jail.
Yeah.
Or, some of them got killed. So I was seeing where they were going. And I'm like, man, I got to make a change. So.
Where are you from?
North Philly. So I'm from North Philly. It's probably like one of the roughest, cities in America. It's tough. It's one of those cities where, like, you can't be weak.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're weak, you're just going to have a tough time. So you kind of have to have you got to have grit and you got to be tough. So, yeah, that's what helped me. Philly, and it's probably why I'm the kind of fighter I am today. Mm-hmm. And I give that to my city.
Yeah.
Because, if you can make it out of Philly, you can make it out of anywhere. So, yeah.
So how influential was Rocky to you?
Rocky. It's crazy because, like...
Or was it?
Yeah, it was. Because Rocky was filmed in this... I think Rocky was like 79. But when they filmed Rocky, it was under the L, Kensington, where my church was when I was a kid. Oh. So, like, when I saw Rocky, I was like, oh, that's where the church is at. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty cool. And, yeah, it was dope because, they showed, like, our neighborhood and things like that. And, Rocky did a good job at playing like an Italian dude from Philly.
Yeah.
He did really good at it, man. So it was dope.
So where you grew up, like, ethnicity-wise, was it more secluded? Was everybody there?
Yeah, so my neighborhood was predominantly Puerto Rican. Mm-hmm. But, it was predominantly Puerto Rican, but then it was black, it was Dominicans, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was the vibe, but the funny thing is, like, in Philly, in my neighborhood, like, the blacks and the Puerto Ricans is like, we're the same.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We're the same. Mm-hmm. We, my black friends came over and they talked Spanish to my mom.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, yeah, so it was like, the culture was, we understood the culture. Mm-hmm. The parties, it was reggaeton and it was hip hop and it was all that. So it was like, it's kind of like a brotherhood in the East Coast where I learned that really fast when I moved to the West Coast, where I realized it wasn't the same in the West Coast.
In what way?
Because there's certain ways I would talk. Being from North Philly. Yeah. And when I came over here, I would talk, and then, like, I would notice, like, the Mexicans didn't know, like, what I was, but then the blacks didn't know what I was. So I was like, yo, this is this is interesting.
This is a little bit off topic of where I wanted to go, but playing off of that with culture, right? Yeah. Specifically with Puerto Ricans, like, historically are a mixed people, right? So there is African descent in there, and Taino. And what was that like for you? Like, was there, I know you said that where you're from, there was a little bit more acceptance. Yeah. But was there any issues with that?
Yeah, because where I'm from is, like, for real, we really don't look at no difference from, like, black and Puerto Rican. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just all from the same environment. We all experience the same things. And the culture is just, you know what I mean? It's just, it's very similar. Yeah. You know what I mean? So moving over here is a little more where I would say it's a little more segregated. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of, like, different for me, where I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I just kind of just stood true to me. I didn't really switch up people kind of like got to realize, okay, Gabe's just Puerto Rican from North Philly. He's
Yeah.
just gonna be Gabe. Yeah, so there's that.
Okay, so you were 18 when you made the switch to boxing.
Yeah.
What was it like the first time you stepped into a gym?
So as far as fighting, I was a street fighter.
Okay.
So like, I wouldn't say a street fighter like Kimbo Slice, right?
Okay.
Yeah. What I mean is like, fighting growing up in the neighborhood is normal. It's
Okay.
kind of like pick up ball. If there's a dude from the other block that, he'll call you out, then you guys meet at the playground and y'all just box.
Literally
Y'all
at the
fight,
playground.
fight each other, yeah, or whatever. At school, at recess.
Wait, so how young were you starting this?
Like 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was pretty normal to fight. And so I was just good with my hands. And then when I entered my first time I sparred, I knocked the guy out in the first round.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was already experienced. So my trainer was like, dang. So, but I still was raw. I need to learn the art because,
Yeah.
Fighting in the street and boxing is two different things. There's an art to boxing. There's a science to it. You know what I mean? So once I began to learn the sport, I think we had like 11 amateur fights and I turned pro in a year.
Wow.
So I moved pretty fast. So I turned pro when I was 19.
So can you explain what is that progression like in the boxing sport so that people can understand?
Yeah. With me, I was so like dedicated. Because when I made the decision that I was going to fight, before I entered the ring or before I entered the gym, I said I was going to be on a world-class stage. Like I looked at the posters in my room and I said, I'm going to be like Tito Trinidad. I'm going to be like Mike. Like I just knew it in my heart that as soon as I would do it, it was a wrap. It was just a matter of putting the work.
Yeah.
So when I went to the gym, you face, there's a lot of adversities because it's a hard sport. I honestly think that boxing is the hardest sport. It's the only sport where it's literally life and death.
Right.
When I would face adversity, like say I lose some fights in the amateurs, I wouldn't get discouraged. I would just look at it like, okay, what do I got to do better? I wouldn't look at it like, damn, I'm not cut out for this.
Yeah.
Because people would tell me you're too old. Like, you're too old. You're starting at 18. Because in boxing, you have to start at a young age,
Yeah.
right?
What's a typical age?
Typical age is like 8, 10.
Oh, okay.
And, like Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson started at 13. A lot of these guys start early, and the thing is that they built themselves in a ranking. So when these guys start early, by the time they're 13, 14, 15, they're fighting in these big tournaments. So they're already they're becoming a name.
Okay.
And then, they go to the Olympics. And by the time they go to the pros, they're already, they're like, they're destined to be like the next Sugar Ray Leonard or whatever, right? So for me, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I didn't have that big amateur background. So that's why I had to start so fast. So when I went to the pros, it was just grinding.
Yeah.
It was a grind. It was crazy.
Was your trainer like on board from the beginning, or did you feel like you had to fight for him to stay down on your team?
Well, it's funny because when I walked to the gym, I had a basketball in my hand.
Okay.
And then the guy that was running the gym, he was like, yo, man, just stick the basketball. And I walked out. He told me I was too old. He said, you 18, man, just stick the basketball.
Yeah.
So I walked away, and then the trainer, Billy Briscoe, he ran after me in the street. I was like, yo, kid, if you serious, come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I showed him how serious I was. I was on time, and I was grinding. Whatever he had me doing, he sometimes he had me in front of the mirror doing the same combination for 2 hours. But I would never complain. I would do it.
Yeah.
And he saw like, oh, he's dedicated. Like he's not complaining. He's not, asking why or anything. He's just doing what I'm telling him to do. So once he saw like that I was on board and I was just locked in, he took me serious.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you time-wise? 'Cause if you're 18 now, you're an adult.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you had to start paying bills.
Yeah.
What was your timeline for the day?
Yeah, it was crazy because I had to work. So the thing is with boxing is most guys that make it to that level, a world class level in boxing, they don't work because they're signed. They get a signing bonus. They get monthlies or whatever. So
Yeah.
you know they have to do is just focus on boxing. For me, you know, I had to work graveyard shift at Home Depot. I worked at a water main company, putting water mains on the ground. I worked as a janitor at a high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I worked at a nursery plant. That job was tough. But it's funny because all these jobs, I didn't complain. It was kind of like, though, this is temporary. The last job was Home Depot, and I was stock the shelves at night,
Yeah.
and I'd just be like, yo, this is temporary. You know what I mean? And so I'll just do it with a good attitude. And
Yeah.
I had fun at work. I messed around with the guys and you know what I mean, pranks and all types of stupid stuff just to have fun at work. But it was cool.
So what would it be like? Like, walk us through a day. Like, how much time did you have to put into your training?
Yeah. So for and when I'm an amateur
Yeah.
or when I transfer over to pro.
Let's start when you were amateur.
Okay.
So when you're
Yeah.
still working at Home Depot, said you were working overnight.
Yeah. So as an amateur, I'm 18. So I would say it got more serious for me when I went and I transferred over to pro because I went pro early.
Yeah.
It was only a year that I did amateur. So I'm 19, and a day would be like, let me see, because this is way back. I gotta go way back. Damn. Yo, I gotta get in my bag right now. Back in 2000, damn,
Yeah.
what was that? 2000 what? It's crazy. So I'm been pro for 20 years. It's a minute. But so for me, it would be, my job was nighttime. It was a graveyard shift. So after the graveyard shift, when I would get off work, I would go run immediately. I would go for a jog. So then I would sleep maybe 5 hours to then, get up. I had a kid. Well, I didn't have a kid yet. My daughter came along at 22.
Okay.
So that's later on. Because you got to remember, the grind for me was not just that time. It was about 7 years
Yeah.
of just doing this. And I mean, grinding like this. Let me pause real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Because it's like, yo, I got to go with my bag because it's so long.
Yeah,
I haven't thought about this in a minute.
I think what would be good to know is, like, when you first started out, like you were saying, like, you didn't have, sponsorships, etc., where
Yeah.
people are paying, so that all you have to worry about is boxing. So right now you're balancing having to pay your bills or whatever. Like, what did that look like on a timeline versus when you got into professional era? I'm assuming that you started to get more deals, etc., so you didn't have to work as much.
No, that ain't happened till like my first 8 years was just grind.
Okay, so it was a long
It was-
time.
It wasn't like a year went by and the 2 years went by and then it was a minute. That's why I'm thinking, because the first job wasn't Home Depot. It was I was working as a janitor
Okay.
at a high school, and then the next job was I was working at a water main.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, bruh.
Yeah. No, that's really good to hear because one of my mentors, my
Because I'm
dance
just trying to organize it because I'm realizing it was the janitor, then
Yeah.
it was the the water main, and then it was the Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good point to emphasize because I was saying that one of my dance mentors, he talks about, like, did you pack enough for the journey?
Yeah.
He's like, some of you might pop off in a year or two. Some of you might not be 5, 10, even
That's why
15 years.
That's why I'd be like, yo,
Yeah.
people be grinding, but they don't really know what people grinding is because it's like, yo, they be like, I've been doing this for 2 years, like 2 years, bruh. It's not really like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's start over, right? So, okay. So first, when I went pro at 19, I was working as a janitor at a high school.
Okay.
Yeah. So and that I had to get up early, go to work. That job sucked. That job sucked. So, but it was what it was at the time, and it's what paid the bills. And then right after that, I just go to the gym. In the beginning, I didn't have a car, so I would catch like 3 buses. So I would catch 3 buses to the gym, and this is Philly, so wintertime is it's cold. It's cold, so I catch 3 buses. But here's the thing: I had the attitude where I didn't care. I caught 3 buses, got to the gym, did my grind, and then catch 3 buses back. Sometimes I just run the whole thing, which would be crazy because the run will probably take me like an hour and some change.
Yeah.
And I would just run it sometimes from where I was to the gym. And I mean, I'd be like, this is my road work. I'm gonna just go run, and just doing that. And then I had a job as working in a water main, and that job was tough because that job would be like a 10-hour shift. Of you putting these big pipes underground, and
Yeah.
it don't matter if it's raining, it don't matter if it's snowing. You got to get this job done, and then clock out after 10 hours of like hard labor, and then go straight to the gym. And then you got to do a sparring session.
Yeah.
You got to spar with a dude that's fresh, and you just like did a 10-hour shift at work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, so it was tough. Yeah, it was tough. And then Home Depot that was the last one. It was the graveyard shift. And, I just kind of, like I said, I would get off work and then I would do my run. I would sleep probably like 5 hours to then go straight to the gym, grind, and then right from the gym, go drive over to work.
During that time, because you said it was an 8-year grind,
Yeah, that was about an 8-year grind.
what was keeping you locked in?
Well, and here's the thing. So I'm working these jobs, but my pro debut was like $800. So these fights are they're not big money fights.
Yeah.
These are fights that I'm trying to build myself up, and I'm trying to work my way into the rankings.
Yeah.
So let's say a fighter that has a big amateur background and has a name, when he comes into the pros, he's making good money off rip, just because he's kind of a name. Where a guy like me, no amateur background, no name like that, I had to just kind of like, get it out the mud. So yeah, it was tough.
So, okay, on one hand, I know that you said it only took you a year to go from amateur to pro,
Yeah.
which is like phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming that based on what you just said, it also kind of backfired a little bit because you didn't have...
Well, the thing is, the reason I turned pro so quick was because, when I was an amateur, I was sparring with top tier fighters.
Okay.
So I was learning, and I'm a quick learner, so I was picking up fast. But the decision to go pro so soon was because it was like we knew we weren't going to go nowhere as an amateur.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and to be real with you, I was hungry. I was like, yo, I'm trying to, get to that level.
Yeah.
And make some real money. Like in amateurs, you're not making money. So, it was about making money too. And then, so that's why I went pro. And then, pro is, I'm building myself and I'm working my way, to make a name for myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you have a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
What does resilience mean to you?
I think with me, that it just like it was natural. Like I never had to talk myself into like anything. To me, it was just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. Like for me, it was like, no, this is what you got to do. That's it.
So there was never a point that you thought about
Never.
giving up or anything?
Never even
Wow.
crossed my mind. I never even thought about it. And you got to remember, like, boxing is an unforgiving sport. So boxing is a sport where defeat is a major, major, major setback.
Yeah.
It's not like baseball where you lose, but you can play the team the next day and get that win back. It's not like that. Boxing is you lose, and the professionals, you don't know when your next fight is.
Yeah.
Your next fight could be 3 months. It could be next year. You don't know how it works. It's really like, it's tough. So, but, when I went pro, I went on a winning streak. I was knocking people out.
Yeah.
But then I fought this tough dude from Africa, Joshua Nyango. I still remember his name. It was a war, and he beat me. And when he beat me, man, I was so discouraged. But I went back to the drawing board, and I got back to some wins. And then I remember I was chilling, and I got a phone call for a rematch, and it was on a 3-day notice against Joshua Nyango, the guy that beat me.
Yeah.
And I took the rematch on a 3-day notice. And then I knocked him out in the 3rd round.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my attitude. So I don't know, man. It was like, I think I get it from my mom. My mom is like real, she's a fighter, had a tough life, never complained. So just seeing my mom, I guess, it just kind of like, it rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
Where I saw my mom just like, she ain't never complained, so I can't complain. So that was just the attitude.
Was there anybody else outside of your mom that had an influence in the way that you think or like your work ethic?
Honestly, my family's really tough. I come from a really tough family. And the women in my family are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the women in my family are really tough. So that's just the attitude, It's just the attitude. And like I said, just Philadelphia, the nature of Philadelphia is just raw.
Yeah.
It's a raw city. A lot of love. It's blunt. People are honest.
Yeah.
No one's like hurt feelings. You know what I'm saying? So you grow up like that, and it's just like that's your norm. When you leave that environment, you realize how unique the environment is.
Yeah.
Because you think that's how it is everywhere.
Right.
Then you travel, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I grew up kind of different. But that's just how it was. So I think that's what made me kind of resilient. But more than ever, I just credit it more to my mom. Yeah,
That's
my
beautiful.
mom made me like that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so 8 years it takes you to grind. Is there anything specific that you would tell yourself? Because it's like year after, like how you said, most people are like, all right, 6 months, a year, but you're talking years after years.
Yeah, and just the fact, there's so many factors within those 8 years, like I got married at a young age. I was like 22. Had a kid right after that. So it was like responsibility.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I provide. I got to make sure, I keep things on point.
Right.
And then at the same time, I'm chasing this dream. So this dream got to work.
Yeah.
Right. So, it didn't work out with my marriage. It ended pretty fast. And I think, part of that was because boxing is a selfish sport. And, at the time, she wanted me to just focus on work.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I'm gonna do this boxing thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it didn't work out. But I still had my kid, so I had to grind. You know what I mean? So there's just life. Life happens. Life is happening while you're chasing something. Life's still happening.
Right.
Right. So you got to fight those battles too. And just grind it out.
So what was the turning point for you in your career?
The turning point for me, the turning point for me was, I think it was 2010, and I went on a winning streak. I was knocking everybody out. And let me pause real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
So there's another factor into that streak that I don't know if I should talk about. But,
What about?
like I got locked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got locked up. So this,
If you're comfortable, if you're comfortable with it,
all right.
like
I'm
I
just
feel,
saying as long as shit.
listen,
story's
I
crazy.
want it to be, I want people to know, like, the reality is, like, I want people to understand, like, the truth of people's, like, journeys.
You know what's crazy? I don't talk about this. So like now that I'm talking about it, there's just like so much shit that's coming to my head where I'm like, what the hell? It's just a lot.
I mean,
What if,
if there's something that like afterwards you're just like I don't want it.
No, it's cool. I'm good with
we
it.
can cut it out.
Because you can just Google this shit. If I see my mugshot. Yeah.
I think it's really important for people to see all the spaces.
Okay, so look. Okay, so the turning point for me, I want to say it was '09. I want to say it was '09. So I'm fighting for the USBA title.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm really working my way in the rankings. I'm really working my way up in the rankings, and I fight for the USBA title at Bally's Resort Casino in Atlantic City. And I'm fighting this really tough dude, another African. I forgot his name, but he was tough. And you know what? Was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't Jamal Davis.
Is Wikipedia right about you? Because they list your fights on there.
Yeah, I forget. It was for the USBA title
You're
in Bally's Resort.
Your professional career?
In Bally's Resort, yeah. How would you find that? You just put Bally Resorts, Rosado versus whoever?
Yeah, well, it has a list of all the people that you fought on here. In the year 2007, you said 2009?
Yeah, I think it was 2009.
Kasim Auma?
No, it wasn't Kasim Uma, but that was another African. He's tough too.
In order of time, there's Alfred Angulo.
No.
Latif.
Let me see. Are you looking at the box right? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what was the turning point for you in your career?
Yeah, so the turning point was I was on a streak, winning my fights. So I had lost a couple fights, but, I didn't let it discourage me. I kept on going, and I got on a winning streak. So the winning streak put me in a situation to fight for the USBA title, which ranks you in the top 15.
Yeah.
It was against Iron Bruce in Atlantic City. And, man, I looked phenomenal that night. Like, I put on a boxing lesson, and I knocked him out in the 5th round. And, my mother didn't go to the fight. Mm-hmm. And my mother had a feeling that something bad was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And my mother told my sister, like, keep an eye on your brother. Yeah. Because, I had a reputation of, even though I was very disciplined, I had a reputation that, like, when it was playtime, I'm an extremist. Okay. If I'm locked in for a fight, I'm locked in. Mm-hmm. But when it's playtime, like, I'm just...
To the max.
To the max.
Okay.
So, at that time, I've changed.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Okay.
Right? So when the fight's over, I go out with my family and my boys and all that, and we celebrating and we're drinking and whatnot, right? And then it's getting late, and my dad and my sisters, they're with me because they're trying to make sure I'm good. And I remember telling them, I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go up to the room. Yeah. Y'all want to go? Y'all could go. They're like, all right, you going to the room, right? I'm like, yeah. So I give everybody a hug and a kiss goodbye, whatever. And I go back to the bar real quick. My intention was to go back to the room. Okay. But I went back to the bar, and then there was something went down with one of my boys and someone at the bar. Mm-hmm. So the cops had came over. And when the cops had came over, I told the cop, I said, yeah, I'm going to get to the casino, man. I'm about to head up to my room. Now, this was like a cop that, I love, and I got respect for cops. I got families that are cops, but this cop was just, he was not the one. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't give a F who you are. Mm-hmm. You got to go. And I'm like, I wasn't even in the situation. It was my boy with somebody. I don't even know what it was about. Yeah. I said, bro, I'm going to my room. I was like, I'm not even from here. I'm from Philly. Like, what you talking about? It's like 3 a.m. Yeah. And he's like, you got to get the F out. So I kind of looked at him like, and I just jetted straight. I started walking directly to the elevator because I'm about to go to my room. Like, I don't know where this guy wants me to go. Yeah. So I'm walking towards the elevator, and he comes running behind me, and he chokes me by the neck. The cop chokes me. So my cousin runs in between us to kind of like separate us. he pulls out his baton and he swings at my cousin. He hits my cousin in between the hand, and he broke my cousin's hand. Like, you can see my cousin's bone pop. As soon as he hit my cousin, he then swung the baton at me. So I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
If you swinging at me, it's just gonna be automatic. So when he swung at me, I caught it with my, I blocked it and I swung back, boom, and I hit him. And then he swung again and I caught it again and I hit him back. And then next thing you know, there was like 8 cops with the canines and all that. And it was like, I got the beating of my life.
Wow.
It was crazy. So I got beat so bad, like, I was like, you couldn't even recognize me. My face was like, they were stomping. There's surveillance. So like they were stomping on me, hitting me with the sticks. It was bad. So I went to the hospital. I was cuffed up in the stretcher.
Yeah.
And then they were coming in the room and beating me up while I was in the room. And then they would come in the room and they would just tee off on me. So a nurse had caught it. And it's crazy because me and this nurse, we follow each other on Instagram to this day.
Yeah.
She caught it and I told her, like, I was like, yo, please, like, stay in the room with me because, like, so she did. And then it was crazy. So I went to jail. They was like, the crazy thing is we went to the, after the hospital, they had to staple my head together because my head got split. So I got like staples all in my head and the top. And then when we went to the, I guess you go to the precinct, I'm like in the precinct, I'm just like totally confused. Like we were supposed to go to Punta Cana the next day with my family. And I'm just like mad confused in the cell. And they're like, yeah, y'all going to county. So then they put us in the paddy, now we're going to county. We're like, yo, what the hell's going on? And they threw me in the hole for 3 days. And I didn't even know what day it was or anything. It was crazy. And then I just like remember once they put us together in population and I was with my cousin and they put us in population, like I was like, yo, like what happened? I was like totally confused. And he was like, I don't know, man. I remember the cop obviously being aggressive and whatever. And it was just crazy. So when we finally got out of jail 2 weeks later, because we had to wait for the bail to go down, because the bail was $250,000 straight. It wasn't no 10%. So I had to wait for the bail to go down. That's when we got out of jail, 2 weeks. But we had surveillance. Yeah. And then the surveillance told another story of what the officer wrote down on his report. Yeah. So, I was able to just kind of, they gave us a plea deal because they knew they were in the wrong as well, where it was a situation where if we took it to trial, it's like a gamble. Yeah. And I was looking at like 5 years in prison and I got a daughter. Right. I'm looking at 5 years in prison and there goes my boxing career. Yeah. If I take it to trial. So I took a plea. It was like 2 years probation. And that was that. But it was crazy. The cop had wrote up something different on the report. But then once we see the surveillance, him chasing me down, choking me, and then him swinging the baton. Right. You know what I mean? So, and there was a situation where he was kicking us out of the casino, but it was like, it's 3 a.m. Where are we going to go? Yeah. Like the casinos are on the dock by the beach. Where are we going? You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to explain to him, I'm going to get to the casino. I'm going to my room, whatever. So, but yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So what's crazy is like, look, what's wild is when we went to go see the judge, my manager at the time after a week of being in the county, my manager at the time had dropped my bail to 10%. So now it was like $25,000. So my manager was going to get me out, but they ain't had money to get my cousin out. And my cousin was with me. So I was like, I'll rock out another week with him until y'all get the bail down so we both get out. Yeah. So we did that. And so after the 2 weeks, and then when we went to see the judge, the lawyer was like, may Rosado supporters please rise. And the whole courtroom rose. It was crazy. Like it was like 250 people inside the courtroom plus people outside. And then like there was media, like my mom had got the news up in that joint.
Mama don't play. Huh? She said, y'all gonna mess with
My
my
mama
baby?
wasn't playing, yo. They messed with the wrong. They messed with the wrong one. So my mama had the media out there and everything. So they was like, when they saw that, oh, this ain't no regular dude.
Right.
Like this dude, parents care. Like this dude got supporters. Like yo, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They knew that it was gonna be a problem. So I think that's why they gave us the deal. Yeah. And I took it because I wasn't trying to go to court. Mm-hmm. You know, I took the deal. And then I took the deal. And then I remember just thinking like, yo, this is so crazy. Like my life could have went so different. And the crazy thing is that the friend that had started the situation at the bar was always the one he was the hothead of the crew. Yeah. And he was, you know, always in and out of jail. And he was like a brother to me because we grew up together. Yeah. We grew up together like literally since kids. And, you know, there were times where their family was going through hard times where they would live with us. Yeah. So that's how close I was with this guy. But I don't know what he did. He caused some trouble. It wasn't like a fight or anything, but I guess he exchanged words with a dude that, you know. And, yeah, so took the deal, got out of jail, and then I just remember thinking like, yo, this could have went really bad. So I got to lock in, and my lawyer fees were high. Yeah. So I took a fight 5 weeks. Within 5 weeks, I took a fight. Ooh.
How long did it take for your head to heal?
My head split open in the fight. So I fought a 10-round fight against Keenan Collins. Man, I fought him for the Pennsylvania state title, and I beat him, and my head reopened in the fight. And my cut man was stopping the blood. And gosh. So now I'm on probation, and you know, and I'm just staying focused, staying locked in, and just winning and knocking people out. And just, you know, I put myself in position to finally fight for a world title.
So what I hear from what you've shared is you have this very phenomenal gift of being able to take like negative aspects of things that happen in your life and instead of like harboring on them, instead using them for fuel. Yeah. To just keep going at the goal because you were locked in, you had a vision of where you saw yourself. Yeah. And it was like you only have two options. Either you give into it or you use it to move forward.
Straight up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was crazy. And they go and that situation transpires later on where so I don't want to skip when I fought for the world title. Yeah. So then I fought Gennady Golovkin for the world title on HBO, which everyone remembers the fight. On a manager standpoint, it was a bad choice because I had ranked myself already #1 at 154. Okay. When I went on a winning streak on NBC Sports and I was knocking everybody out. And I put myself in position to fight for the world title. And my manager at the time thought that the fight with Golovkin moving up in weight would be the best bet. Now, the money was good. It was on HBO. It was in Madison Square Garden. It's great. But boxing is all about timing. Okay. And even though something might look great, it's still, you got to respect timing. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, I was so excited. HBO, Madison Square Garden, like, yo, let's go, world title. But it was too soon. It was too soon for me to move up in weight. And he beat me. Too experienced. It was the first time where I felt it was the first time where I felt like a different level. Yeah. You know, this guy was an Olympian. You know, he was at the top of his game. And I felt that. But, you know, I didn't let it discourage me. And I went back and I fought on a Floyd Mayweather card on HBO. I mean, not on HBO, on pay-per-view. And that fight got turned into a no contest because the guy I fought was on an illegal substance. So and then it put me in position to then fight for the world title against Peter Quillen. And then this is where Atlantic City comes back into play.
Okay.
So Peter Quillen, the fight's in Atlantic City. I'm on probation. I'm not allowed to be in Atlantic City.
Oh.
The fight's in the Boardwalk Hall. And this is Showtime. It's big, right? And so we had to ask permission from the judge to be able to fight in Atlantic City. And he granted us the okay. So, you know, this fight is big. It's once again, I get a shot at the world title.
Yeah.
And it's big. And I remember walking into the ring and it's 20,000 people, lights, camera, action. And I'm pumped. You know what I mean? I used to walk in the ring with my shades.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped, right? I'm feeling myself. And I go in the ring, and next thing you know, almost all the cops that beat me that night were all in the corner in the ring. Because what happens is in fights, there's security and there's cops.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just normal. It just so happened to be the ones that you know.
What came up for you in that moment when you saw
I just
them?
remember. I remember the one cop, the one that started it.
Yeah.
He was like right in front of me, and it was crazy. And I'm like, yo, this is live. This is big, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so there's so much emotions going on in my head where I'm like, yo, this is wild. So I got dropped in the third round. I think I was distracted, so I got dropped in the third round. But that woke me up.
Yeah.
That woke me up, and then, you know, I just came back into the fight, and I was ahead. I was like, you know, I had hurt Peter Quillen. It was like the 9th round. He caught me with a jab that cut me really bad. And then, man, unfortunately, in the 10th round, the doctor stopped the fight
Yeah.
because they said you can't see. And I'm like, I could see. No, you can't see. And I'm up on the cards. I'm winning the fight. So I'm going to be a world champion. In 2 more rounds, I'm going to be a world champion. And they're like, nah. And I'm like, damn. So I remember I went to the locker room, and then a cop came to the locker room. And he said, yo, I recommend y'all to just go straight home because I already know, like, you know, it's not going to be good. And so we jetted. We just left.
So you feel like they were there to psych you out?
Where they were passing my mugshot when my face was all busted up. And when they took my mugshot, they didn't take my mugshot the day of because my face was so deformed that they took my mugshot like when the swollen went down.
Yeah.
So, but they were passing their mugshot to people that were sitting ringside. And my boy Danny Garcia, who was former world champion,
Yeah.
we came up together in Philly. He saw it, and he's the one that stopped it.
Yeah.
He's the one that was like, yo, man, what y'all doing? And he
Right.
stopped it because they were making, like, you know, they were laughing about it,
Right.
which is crazy. Yeah.
Did that ever come up later on? Like
But
the reality of how ill they were?
I mean,
Or just because you took the plea deal, it was just kind of like case over?
well, then the funny thing is that, yeah, well, it just happens, you know. And the funny thing is that when we did the deal protected them from me suing them. So I was like, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But my lawyer made a mistake where he didn't put that for them. So that cop ended up suing me after that fight.
What?
Yeah, that cop ended up suing me, and I had to write him a check.
You're lying.
Yeah, he sued me to like almost
Sued
2
you for what?
So he had so when I fought this fight was it was almost the 2 years was about to be up. Like it was literally like just weeks away. And right when it's almost weeks away, I got the lawsuit in the mail. Yeah.
And what was he suing you for?
You know, assault and I don't know, you know, just dumb shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, people could sue for whatever, right? That's just how it is. So he sued me. Yeah. And let me add this to it too. The cop had a record. So, you know, he had a record of punching this girl's teeth out. He had a record of assault on another guy that got assaulted and thrown in the dumpster after they whooped him. And yeah, so the dude had a track record. things were different at that time with cops, especially, you know what I mean? Things were different with certain cops. I don't want to say all cops, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? But things were
Yeah.
different at that time. I mean, it ain't like today. Everybody
Yeah.
got phones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody had a phone when I was getting my ass beat.
Right.
The only video we had was the surveillance from the casino.
Yeah.
So thank God for that. And part of the reason why I didn't step out was because I know how shit go. I'm from the streets. I know when a cop is talking to you a certain way, what his intention is. So I knew that he wanted me to go out of the casino to beat me, to take advantage of us outside, where anything can happen outside now.
Yeah.
Because ain't no cameras.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, you ain't about to shoot me. Like, we go outside, if we get into a fight, now that's where the guns come out.
Yeah.
So I kept it inside the casino. That's why I headed straight to the elevator. Because I was trying to avoid, like, I knew it was going to go down if we go outside.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Would you say that was like one of the biggest, not L's, but like a very impactful like event that changed for you?
Yeah, it was. It was real emotional for me, too, because, like, I remember going at that time just thinking, like, damn, like,
Because you had your daughter already,
my daughter
right?
was only, man, she was so young. She was, like, about to turn 2 at the time. So I just remember thinking, like, damn, I could have lost time with my daughter. You know, I could have, my career, all these years that I've put in this work in, like, could have just went down the drain. So it was very emotional for me in the sense of, like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was hard on my mom. Like, my mom, she was the lawyer.
Yeah.
Because she was the one that broke the surveillance down.
That's one thing about moms. They're going to find a way.
My mom,
They're going to figure it all out.
My mom looked at the surveillance and she realized that the time wasn't matching, that sometimes the surveillance would skip. And my mom caught the skip, and then my mom would caught the difference of the time, like, you know, the numbers on the corner, on the top corner of the video. My mom would like, oh, hold on, this video was tampered with. My mom was catching all that stuff. And my mom was like watching a video of her son being beat.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I'm good, which I know is hard for her.
Right.
I saw the video and I was like, I only saw the video one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only saw the video one time because it was crazy. I remember thinking I was going to die because I was like, yo, like, I got a daughter. Y'all going to kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah.
Did you ever process that later, or do you feel like because you were a fighter, you had to like suppress it?
No. What I was thinking, I remember thinking in the moment, I'm going to die. I'm not going to see my daughter. And then I remember thinking that if I don't die, I can't fight no more because they're about to, like, I'm about to be all messed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I remember thinking. But it's crazy. I don't know. I guess it's God, because I don't know how I could go through things like that. And once it happens, and it's like I keep it moving.
Yeah.
Like I fought 5 weeks later, and then, you know, like, I don't know, I just keep it moving. It's kind of crazy, but yeah.
So how has your faith played a role in your life and your career?
Well, when I go through these moments, I do have my talks with God.
Yeah.
Like, God, I know I'm sorry. I shouldn't have went back to that bar. I should have went up to the room when I hugged my family goodbye. You know what I'm saying? And that night taught me like, it just taught me to, like, pay attention to the people around you. Because, like I said, everything was good. Everybody was having a good time.
Yeah.
No one was on no... Matter of fact, a part that I had left out of the story was I had a cop with me, my friend, Elliot. And Elliot pulled his badge out and showed the cop his badge and said, we good, officer. And the cop told him, fuck your badge, this is my town. Because the badge was a Philly badge.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was like a beef thing between Atlantic City and Philly cops. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what he told my boy. So when he told my boy that, who's a cop,
You already knew.
walked straight to the elevator. Because I was like, oh, damn, if my boy can't get us out of this, then this is going to go real bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So then what was a high point for you in your career?
High point? A high point was, you know, it was, you know, I bounced back from that. You know, we fought for the world title. You know, unfortunately, we didn't get the decision. But a high point in the sense of what?
Like if that's a low for you, right?
Yeah.
Like a very impactful low moment.
Yeah.
What was a very impactful high moment for you?
Yeah.
Like a moment where you're like, dang, this was all worth it.
An impactful high moment was me staying the course, staying focused, still getting big fights. And then, you know, I get a phone call. I was in Miami. I get a phone call from this agent. And he's like, yo, man, I don't even know who this guy was, but he was like, yo, you got this good look, man. He's like, you got the perfect look for the films or whatever. I'm just like, who's this? He's like, yo, man, I want to work with you. When can you come to LA? So I was like, I'm in Miami right now, man. When I get back home and settle, I'll hit you up. So by the time I got back home, I think it was like within a week, I went to Cali, LA. I met with the guy. And I'm the type of person that when I see an opportunity, I go for it.
Yeah.
And I just saw an opportunity and I was like, I ran with it. And I moved to LA just like that. Like, so when I had the meeting with him,
Yeah.
it wasn't like I went back home and I came back to, no, I had the meeting with him and then I went shopping for an apartment. Yo,
so when you lock in, you really lock in.
Yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah.
So I got an apartment, and then came back to Philly. Told my fam, yeah, I'm getting into this film stuff. Everybody like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what you talk about, God? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting into the films. And then, yeah, so it was crazy. And then when I went to LA, the funny thing was it didn't work with this guy. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm from Philly.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like real vocal with this dude. Like, yo, release me.
Yeah.
Because I did a deal with him. Mm-hmm. Release me. I'm not going to say exactly what I told him. But he released me.
Okay. Got it.
And then I was in the gym jogging on the treadmill. And then this guy comes up to me and he hits me with yo, you're the perfect guy for this movie. He hit me with that one. And I'm like, well, here we go again. Mm-hmm. But I gave him my number because you never know, right?
Yeah.
And he called me in a week and he was like, hey, man, come to Warner Brothers. And I went to Warner Brothers and I met Ryan Coogler, who was a great producer. Mm-hmm. And I met Michael B. Jordan. And that's when we did, they told us to do a scene.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what the scene was. I didn't even know what it was about.
Yeah.
So I did it.
So you didn't even look at the script or anything before that?
No, they was like, all right, now do a face-off. And I looked at, you know what I mean, the face-off of Mike, and I looked at him like I was about to rip his head off, you know what I mean? Grilled the hell out of him. Mm-hmm. And then Ryan was like, yup, you the guy, you the one. And I'm like, what is this? And like, this is Creed, man. This is a sequel from Rocky, and we shooting in Philly. And I'm like, we shooting in Philly. We shooting back in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I called my mom. This is 4 months of me living in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I called my mother. I said, yo, Mom, you ain't about to believe this. I said, I'm shooting a movie. It's going to be the Rocky sequel. It's called Creed, and it's back home in Philly.
Yeah.
And that's how that played out.
That is definitely a full circle moment.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that was a high moment for me. And the dope thing about it was that I fought. Let me see. How did it play out? Okay. So before we start shooting the film, I had a big fight at the Barclays Center in New York and on HBO. Mm-hmm. And I had the whole crew from Creed ringside, and I had Michael B.
Dope.
I had Michael B. walk do the ring walk with me because I was like, "Yo, I want you to experience how it really is."
Feels, yeah.
Yeah, and it was sold out. It was crazy. And Mike did the walk with me. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was it being on set for you?
It was like natural because you know I'm used to being in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
So it was pretty natural. Yeah, and it was dope. And then like me and Mike, we did a scene that I think it's the first time, maybe the only time it's ever been done, where the scene we did, it was one take.
Oh.
So we shot for it was like a 10-hour day of shooting.
Yeah.
We shot all day, but it was no breaks. It was like the one camera just coming into my corner, zooming out. What's it called?
Continuous shot.
Yeah. So you can't make a mistake. You got to be sharp. If the camera's on this side of Mike, I got to make sure I punch this side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To just make it look realistic.
Yeah.
So it was dope. We did that and we killed it. And the thing is, me and Mike, we practiced so much. We did that the night we shot, we could land real shots because we already knew the brace. So I was
Yeah.
like, Mike, just catch me.
Yeah.
Because we already know what's coming.
Yeah.
Just catch me. And I was hitting Mike for real too. Yeah, so it was dope.
Okay. So you moved to LA. In 4 months, you was on a movie.
Yeah.
A big time movie.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is that right after that, then I did Kingdom with Nick Jonas and
Yeah.
Frank Grillo. So it was like it was just happening for me.
Just rolling.
No agent, no manager, no nothing, off the strength. It was crazy. And the way that played out was I did a new form of boxing. It was called BKB. And
Okay.
it was in a pit, and it was 17 by 17 with no ropes. And it's in a circle, and the walls come up. And if you fall off the pit, it's a knockdown.
Okay.
And it was crazy. It was pay-per-view. It was wild. And I headlined, and I became champion. I knocked out Brian Vera in the 5th round. And the creator of the BKB was the creator of Kingdom. And he saw me in Creed. He was like, yo, I'm gonna put you on Kingdom.
Yeah.
I said, all right. And then he really did. He called me, hey, Gabe, pull up on set. I was like, yeah, this is wild.
That's so dope. Just
Yeah.
being diligent in your craft opened up the door to other things.
Yeah, and I think that's key. Like, when an opportunity comes, when you feel it, you got to just go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's real. You know what I'm saying? And it was dope. Did that scene. And, you know, the crazy thing about the show Kingdom was I was a fan of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a fan of the show. Like, I was watching the show. It was a dope show. So to be a part of it, it was just cool.
Do you want to keep doing movies?
Yeah, I would. It's funny because I never pursued it in the sense of, like, you know, dedicating myself to it the way I did with boxing.
Yeah.
It was kind of coming to me. And it's crazy because I had other shows come to me and other opportunities where I didn't take it because I had training camp.
Yeah.
You know, but now I still don't know what I want to do. If I want to pursue one more fight or see where that goes.
Okay, so that's my next question.
Yeah.
What led you to make the decision to retire and then come back?
Yeah. I think I retired when I retired, and I'm still retired. I'm still retired. You know what I mean? I would only come back for something that makes sense. But, you know, when I retired, I think I was just burnt out. I think I was burnt out. It's a lot of years. You know what I'm saying?
What's a
just
typical length of time for a boxing career?
Shoot. I was about to curse on your podcast.
You good?
Look, in boxing, you're lucky to have 10 years. Anything past 10 years, you blessed. And if you can have your wits, and have your speech in your mind, you're really lucky.
And you've had 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
So you started late
Yeah,
and was able to have a successful 20-year career.
yeah, so it's crazy. But yeah, so like, when I retired, I think I was just burnt out. You know what I mean? I was burnt out. And I just wanted to take the time to just, like, chill out. It's a lot of things you miss out on when you're in the sport. Like, you know, you miss out time with your kids. I got 2 kids. I got 2 daughters. You miss out time with your kids, holidays. People don't understand the stress that comes with the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like, the stress is, like, you know, the intensity, you You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's a lot. So, you know, I think I just was tired of it mentally. So I gave it a break. Now, if I come back, which I do have that fire, and I think I'm always gonna have that fire because I think it's like, if you're a dancer, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna be dancing when you're 60. You'll be dancing when you're 70, right? So it's like I'm a fighter. Okay, Father Time tells you that's it.
Yeah.
But that's who you are. That's that's in your DNA. So how do you turn that off? See, the difference is, right, you got athletes and you got fighters.
Okay.
I'm both, but I'm a fighter. Like my character is I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? And there's certain guys that they retire and they're happy as hell when they retire. Well, okay, you're an athlete. You're an athlete. I don't got that switch. I'm a fighter. I'm a real fighter. It's just how I think. So, yeah.
What was the fight that your retina got detached?
That was the fight that I had Creed sitting ringside, the cast of Creed sitting ringside, that Michael B walked out with me, and on that was that fight.
So if they had any doubt in their mind before, that solidified.
And you know what's crazy?
What?
The crazy thing was that before I got the Creed movie, I got my trunks designed like Rocky. I did the American flag like Rocky, but I did it with like some swag. I didn't do the shorts. I did like the skirt.
Yeah.
And so those were the trunks that I fought.
Yeah.
So it was a Rocky performance because it was crazy because in the third round, he hits me with a shot. I immediately go down and I can't see.
Yeah.
I'm blind. The crowd is like foggy. I can't see anything. And he broke my orbital bone. So the orbital bone got broke and the retina got detached. And I got up and I'm like, man, I can't see. So I survived the round. And then when I went back to my corner, I'm telling my corner, like I'm whispering to them, I can't see. Because you can't let the commission hear you say that, because if they hear you say that, they're stopping the fight. So the fourth round was legendary. The fourth round was legendary because like I came at him and I was like, let's go. And I bit down on my mouthpiece and I just start rumbling. And I can't see anything, but I'm rumbling, I'm catching them. The crowd's going crazy. The commentators are going crazy. Andre Ward, who actually came out in Creed 2, he fights he's the champion in the movie. He's commentating, and I got so much respect for him, man. His story is incredible. He's like, and this is why people love Gabriel Rosado. Win, lose, or draw, he's gonna give it his all. Like, he's like, and it's legendary. And but after that round, like I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm gonna try to get him out of here before he gets me out of here. That was my mindset. But then, after that, it was like I was just blind. I couldn't see. So I was getting hit with shots that I just couldn't see coming. But I never quit. I never quit. I fought through it. And then the thing was, my mom's like, we got to go to the doctor, the eye doctor, when we get back to Philly. I'm like, no, I'm good. It's just the eye swollen. No, God, we got to go. I'm like, I'm good, but I listened to her, right? Yeah. And then I go to the hospital the next day, and they're like, we got to do surgery right now. You got to detach retina. And they saved my eye. Wow. They saved my eye. I would have lost my eye. It's crazy.
So boxing really is a dangerous sport.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I remember, like, I got hit with so many shots in that fight that I didn't see coming. And the shots that hurt you the most are the ones you don't see, obviously. Yeah. And it was the first time where I literally lost my speech. It took me like 2 weeks to like finish a sentence. Wow. Yeah, it was like I knew what I wanted to say, but it just like my tongue wasn't cooperating. I was like, oh shit, just don't say shit. Just don't say shit. It was crazy. Wow. The sport is wild, man. The sport is brutal. It's brutal. But I got the surgery, and remember, I was the BKB champion, so I shouldn't have. But I defended my title 6 months later. And I still didn't get my eye fully it wasn't fully healed.
Yeah.
But I went and I defended the title successfully.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 months later.
You were covered for sure.
It took a whole year for me to get my vision.
Yeah.
It took for me to be 2028. It took a whole year. Yeah.
Is there anything that you regret doing in your career?
Yeah. You know, I think as determined as I was and gutsy, and I just you know, the type of fighter I wasn't, my lifestyle outside of the ring
Yeah.
was very reckless. My lifestyle out of the ring was very reckless. And I think to be the kind of fighter I was, I guess, you know what I mean? You are, how you fight is who you are. You would know a man's character by how he fights. Because it gets so hot in the ring where you're going to see if a guy's going to turn. I'm trying to find a better word to say. You're going to see if a guy turns into a coward.
Yeah.
You're going to see if he's a coward. You're going to see if it exposes you for who you are.
Yeah.
If you get cut, how's that guy going to react? You can't fake a cut. You cut.
Right.
How you going to act when you cut? If your hand broke, how you going to act when your hand broke? When you pull a ligament in your legs, how you going to act how you going to act? Are you going to fight through it?
Yeah.
Are you going to show it? So, yeah.
So what do you think the biggest life lesson you've learned from boxing is?
The biggest lesson I learned from boxing? I think boxing is just the biggest life lesson I learned from boxing. Discipline. Discipline. That without discipline, you know, you can't do anything. Anytime I was successful in boxing is because it was when I was most disciplined. Anytime I won, when, you know, I won knockout of the year in 2021 against a guy who was an Olympian, had like 200 knockouts. He had, out of 200 and something wins, he had 190 knockouts.
Oh my goodness.
This dude was crushing everybody. And I knocked him out in the third round. He knocked me down in the first round. And I got back up and knocked him out in the third round. And I was so disciplined. Like I pictured that punch. Like I would dream about that punch, the punch I was gonna hit him with. And it's like, that's what boxing teaches me. It's like, yo, when you're really locked in and you're disciplined and you can do anything. It was the moments that I took things for granted, where, you know, you're successful, you're making money, and you take things for granted. Maybe you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That's when it backfires on you, because the ring tells on you. It's like life. The ring tells on you. If you ain't put your runs in, if you ain't lock in, it's gonna tell on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, from what you shared, you started late in your career.
Yeah.
You took a chance. You were able to not let the voices of other people hinder you from what you were going after.
Yeah.
And the grit and resilience that you committed to in being able to stick something out 8 years before you saw the fruit of it. And then the testimony of that is all the success that you've had into being able to have things that you didn't even have on your initial vision board, which is like film.
Yeah, for sure.
So what would be your advice for anybody that feels like they're starting too late?
Starting too late in what? In boxing particularly?
No, just in whatever they want to do. They're like, oh, it's too late for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever too late. Like I'm still thinking about other things I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still growing myself. I'm still learning myself. So I don't think it's ever too late. You know, and it's just, you know, you got to have an attitude of belief. Like you got to believe in yourself more than anything. And you can't put too much weight on what other people think. Because if you put too much weight on what other people think, that's going to shut you down. Because if I would have listened to everybody who's telling me, yo, you're too old, dude. Like, you know the type of dudes you'll fight this guy and this guy, whatever, right? So I just like, whatever.
Yeah.
You just can't really give too much attention to the negativity. Just do you. Because sometimes people project their fears on you.
Right.
So people is what they believe they can't do, they project it on you.
Right.
But everybody's different. Everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And I think, honestly, is when you feel something, like when you have a passion for something, you have to pursue it because the passion is your identity. It's like who you are.
Yeah.
And when you're ignoring that feeling, you know, I think that's the important thing to do. Just follow your passion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey. It's super inspiring. It's even convicting for me. I really wanted people to hear what it's like for somebody to say yes to their passion and a dream. And I think even more so recently this year for me has been that conviction of like, there's a purpose and there's a reason why you have desires, why you have dreams. And at the end of the day, like, you're going to be accountable for what you did or you didn't do, you know? And so I hope this is encouraging to you guys to know that it isn't too late. It's only too late if you never start, you know? You have a perfect example here of major crazy things. It's not just like little things. You went through a lot, but you're still on the come up and you're still doing phenomenal other things. Business, you opened up a gym and you have all other things. Is there any last things you want to say?
No, just enjoying, you know, the hard work and, you know, commentating fights now. So I get to commentate fights and I get to see young fighters and give them pointers, and I see myself in the young fighters coming up, so I give them game, and so that's fun too. Just being able to pass that on to fighters, you know, that experience.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Until the next time, y'all.